Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In Gambia, deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Basel Mufine, Wave, your money is yours.
On Friday, the 4th of July, 2025, you're with Coffee Time on West Coast Radio. I'm joined this morning by the two Ebrimas, as I said at the top of the program. To my left is Ebrimas Silla, the current Minister for Transport Works and Communication. To my right, the Honorable Ebrimas G. Sankare, Gambia Government Spokesman and Presidential Advisor on Diaspora Affairs. Why are you chuckling when you were addressed as Honorable in the High Court? Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. One thing I like about you is that your fights, they never end. You fight to the grave. You fight for your right to the grave.
I'm not fighting, I'm just inviting you to and welcoming you.
Something was said about the three of us.
Yeah.
And I was telling the minister, but I'm not going to say it here until when we leave.
Why?
Last night he forced me that I have to call the president and find out about this. So I called him around 10:30 and he said something about the three of us. I'm not going to say it on air. When we leave, I'll tell you.
All right. Thanks for coming. Let's welcome the Honorable Minister of Transport Works and Infrastructure. Why am I saying communication? It's infrastructure.
Well, it used to be
communication.
Yes,
yeah,
that's true.
Did you bring about the change and why?
No, actually, it has been that since 2017. But you remember when the ministry was first created, information and communication was part of this ministry. It was Ministry of Works, Communication, Information and Communication. Then Bakari Njai was there, and then also Mr. Lamin Ibrahim Asise, who was working with the UN and then now retired. So information used to be under this ministry, and then telecoms also. But now is in transport, works and infrastructure.
Okay.
And let me say a good morning to your listeners, Peter.
Silla, you haven't been here for... Well, actually, I mean the two of you together.
Yes,
it's been years. You were last year, less than a month ago.
Yeah, less than a month ago. Yes.
And I'm sure there'll be more questions now on road infrastructure.
Well, Sankara and I, we come in peace this morning just to tell people what we are doing with the launching.
No, don't worry. Lamin is not here to fight you or what.
Well. I'm not going below the belt, I mean, I listened to his interview with you, and I'm surprised somebody who said I should shut up, that, I'm not making sense. Yet he spent 2 good hours listening to me and taking copious notes. Absolute dishonesty.
Well, I'm not sure about that. Just before we start, I mean, you were listening to the headlines, and one headline particularly caught your attention, and that's the Voice's main headline: Parliament uncovers $253 billion discrepancies. What's your problem?
It could not have been possible.
Well, you were not in Parliament, were you?
Yeah, but Peter, 253 billion is like 8 years of our entire budget. How could that have gone missing? That's not possible. Maybe they wanted to say probably 2.35, I don't know. But it's not possible because it is only in the last 3 years that we've been hitting above 30 billion annually for our budget. All other years, we were 22, 24, and things like that. Even if it were, say, 30 billion, you divided 30 billion by 253 is 8 years of our annual budget.
With some leftover.
With some leftover.
Yes.
So it could not have been possible. The headline is absolutely wrong. There is something wrong with the headline.
Okay, well, I'm sure the Voice editors are listening, and the reporter who reported that. I'm going to stay with you a bit now and direct the conversation towards Tangara, because everybody's talking about Tangara.
Yeah.
Was he in cabinet? Did cabinet meet yesterday?
Yes, we had a cabinet meeting yesterday.
Was he present?
No, Tangara was on an official mission in Spain with the vice president.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he wasn't present at this meeting?
No, he wasn't.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Although we hear that, let me go to Sankare. Sankare, what do you know about this resignation? Because the report, reports quoting, the State House statement said that his resignation was tendered only yesterday. So if he wasn't in town, I mean, do you know what channels were used?
Yeah,
let me use court language, because last night I commanded you. Last night I commanded you to call the president and find out everything about this resignation.
Yeah, and I oblige.
Okay.
Anyway, a very good morning to you, Peter, and to our esteemed listeners in the Gambia and across the world. Very good Friday morning.
Should I also say Happy July 4th to you as an American citizen?
Well, it's okay.
Should I say it?
Well, that's up to you.
Okay. Happy July the 4th.
Thank you so much. Yes, and Happy July 4th to all Americans, especially to my family, my 4 children in the United States. I wish them a very happy July 4th, or a very, awesome July 4th, So now they'll be flocking to Atlanta, Georgia for the annual, pilgrimage. Gambians, for some reason, choose Atlanta to be the pilgrimage point for the July 4th celebrations.
And St. Marie as well.
Yeah, I know, because Atlanta has a huge, presence of Gambians, and for decades, for many years, even your man, Sirif Samsudin Sar, our friend, he lived in Atlanta and went to school in Atlanta.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Our former mayor of Serekunda, Keba Jallo, also lived in Atlanta, naturalized in Atlanta. And several, the former mayor of Banjul, Pasala Jeng, all went to school there. And, So he has a long history, Yeah. It's true, he resigned. I think the first thing you said, they said for days, and then after, it was only yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't have to be in Gambia to tender your resignation letter, given the speed of the internet. You also are the chief officer at the foreign ministry. You have people who work under you, and you could send your resignation letters through them. Yes, so it is official. He resigned. Then I asked the president. It wasn't something spontaneous. He knew about it, that the man was, Mr. Tangara, Honorable Tangara, was actually looking for this job. And then he finally got it. And he thinks it's a very good job. It's an international job, very lucrative job. That would also put him, in a position where he could help not only himself and the family, but also Gambians and Africa for that matter. Given his vast diplomatic experience, a career spanning over a decade, he has worked as Minister of Higher Education. He's worked as ambassador to our mission in permanent representative to the United Nations mission in New York, and was also later to become foreign minister under President Barrow for the past 5 or 6 years, like you just enumerated. Seven for the past 7 years. Yeah, tempus fugit, they say, time flies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he has been. So the president was aware of his seeking of this job, and wish him the best, wish him well in his new career, endeavors.
Before this job, and given the option, he would still opt for the previous one, which is the Commonwealth Secretary General position.
Yeah.
He needed and got the backing of the Gambia to be nominated, to be eligible to run. Did he require the backing of the government of the Gambia for this job in Mali?
I wouldn't know. I do not know. I can, however, speculate that if somebody has served under you for foreign minister for 7 years, if he is seeking that job and you are aware, I have no doubt, given President Barrow's generosity, and his willingness to help people evolve and develop, if his precious signature were required or needed, I'm sure he would have, appended his signature to whatever document it was required. I would surmise.
Okay, all right. And how about the news again, being leaked to, online media before becoming official? I mean, it was the same thing with Batambadu. online reporting that he was going to resign. And yes, he did resign. This one again, he's going to resign, and only this one, hours later, State has confirmed that he had resigned.
I don't think it was he was going to resign. I think it was whether he has resigned. It was a question. So it was a question, and a question also shows uncertainty. And Gambia, like I always say, is a village. We are all related in one way or the other. So if Peter Gomez were to leave his job as Supremo of West Coast Radio, one would assume that Ibrahim Silla or Ibrahim Sankare may know before the Gambian public knows, even though he serves the Gambian nation every morning, every day of his life. So it is just natural that some people might be privy to some information given their proximity to the person in question or to the subject matter. So Mr. Tangara has been in government for many years. I first met him at the Point newspaper where we worked together under Deda Haidara. So we...
You're making someone its day.
No, Pap Sen groomed us. And he always tells the president when he meets him, Sumahlay, Tangara ak Sankare ak Sila.
Nar bi dañ ko war a fay horomam.
Jox nañ ko ko na même sauf si añu bi.
So there you go. All right, thanks for now. Let's go to Sila. Sila, big event coming up tomorrow. That's your raison d'être for being here, even though I am sure I'll be flooded with questions about roads and the upcoming the rains are already here. The build-up, couldn't be any bigger. Every day on the radio stations, I don't watch a lot of local television, but I suppose on TVs as well, announcing what's about to happen on Saturday. Talk to us about this.
Thank you so much. Finally, His Excellency the President is going to lay the foundation stone for the deep sea port, which will be held in Sanyang. The event is twofold. Basically, the President will go to the beach side at the construction site where the deep sea port will be constructed, and he will lay the foundation stone there with a few chosen members of the community and probably some ministers and the Gambia Ports Authority, because we don't want to crowd the place. Is not big enough to have a big crowd there. Then we will do a demonstration of how the drillings will be done with some heavy machinery, and from there the President and entourage will go to the Sanyang football field where he will hold a meeting, and we are expecting quite a big crowd actually coming from different parts of the Combos and hopefully KMC to grace this very, very historic but also very important occasion.
Let me get this straight. I've been given an invitation, but it's to this football ground. But what is happening at the football ground is a meeting. So why am I being invited to a meeting?
Well, it's just to tell you what the deep sea port is all about.
So the meeting is about the deep sea port. It's not some political rally or whatever.
Well, you cannot divorce politics and from the.
And you are inviting me to a political event.
No, we want to see Peter Gomez's face there.
Well, I was planning on coming, but now that I've been told it's a
great honor to have Peter in that crowd.
You're kidding. Okay, so let's talk about the ceremony tomorrow and why people need to come out. Because
this is the biggest ever foreign direct investment in this country, and for a good reason. This is going to change lives for generations to come. We all know the constraints that we have been grappling with the port of Banjul, the congestion, the demurrage that businessmen have been actually paying over the years as a result of delays in safe berth and also congestion, and the expectation that the deep sea port is going to change all that. For the first time in our history we will see monster vessels calling on the port of Banjul. This is likely going to reduce the cost of business, because what we are having right now is a situation where big vessels will be at sea, and then feeder vessels, smaller ones, will be going, and then coming to bring the goods to the port of Banjul, or they will do port-to-port call. Sometimes they will leave some of these goods either in Morocco or in Brussels or in Dakar, and then smaller vessels that can actually come through the channel to the port of Banjul will just be going and then picking these goods and commodities and then bringing them to Banjul. Now that is going to change completely, because now these monster vessels will be able to call on the port of Banjul, and that also will have a number of facilities at the deep sea port, including even petroleum jetty. We'll also have 3 or 4 other smaller jetties that will actually be responsible for bulk cargo like cement, rice, and other consumable goods. Then we'll also have a huge space for auxiliary services like those light industries that will have to be very close to the port of Sanyang, and then whatever they produce, they just use the port for export to other third countries in the region. So this is a great opportunity for this country for several reasons, but for the fact that we are very hopeful that it will put the Gambia on the map. Now, remember that the Gambia is also hoping to take a bigger stake in the Africa Free Trade Continental project that has just started, and the volume of trade that is expected cannot in any way be handled at the port of Banjul. The deep sea port will be able to handle that, and then goods destined for third countries, especially landlocked countries in the region, will now be able to use the port of Banjul or the deep sea port in Sanyang to freely bring in goods and then serve their respective countries.
Is the VDC entirely, behind this project? Are they entirely supportive? We had these problems at the beginning. Resistance from the community. And I had Jobate on the program on Monday, the managing director of ports. And immediately he left the studio, I got a text message to say that actually the VDC were left out of arrangements for this inauguration ceremony on Saturday.
Well, I think what is happening probably is an internal issue within the VDC members, among the VDC members themselves. But what the government does, and the Gambia Ports Authority and our partners, actually is to engage the VDC, whose representatives are on the organizing committee, the Council of Elders, that we call the Bulunda, and the Sanyang community leaders. Now, whether the information is being filtered to the task force that was set up to deal directly with the ministry is something that we are not very sure of. But I went to Sanyang on Monday evening, and I had a good meeting with the community and the VDC, and I appealed to them that whatever might be between them should be really set aside and then concentrate on the bigger picture. Because even when the foundation stone is laid and the project kicked off, we have to continue to deal with the community. And issues like, employability for the youths of Sanyang, and also their concerns about environment and all those things will continue to be an engaging issue for us. And therefore, it is important that we continue to have their buy-in and their support for this project to seamlessly be implemented in a manner that we all want it to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sila, thanks for now. Let's do, a few text messages. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Kindly ask the Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure to update us about the concern I raised with the Minister of Information last 2 months regarding the Old Joshua Banjul Highway street light issue. And also kindly ask Minister Silla, when will the people of Kombo South have street lights? We need street lights for our communities, especially Gunjur Brikama Highway and Katong Tanje Highway, mainly the Kombo coastal highways, because street lights are essential for our daily transportation and it makes us feel safe in our communities. So let's start with the Old Joshua to Banjul Highway street lights.
Yes, this is something that we are currently looking at. We are now developing a strategy to have solar street lights across the country in all the roads that have been tarred, especially in the urban area here. My permanent secretary and the technicians have had some engagements with some suppliers, and we are looking at about 43,000 street lights to service the entire Greater Banjul area.
Oh, okay. I thought Old Joshua.
No. The entire Greater Banjul area. So from Old Joshua, in fact, from the KMC office at the Westfield, going all the way to Banjul, that is a priority for us. We had street lights there, but the problem is we have these scrap dealers who actually are cutting the cables.
Seriously?
Yes, for copper and some things that I don't really know, but they have been vandalizing the street lights on the Banjul-Serakunda highway. And that is why we are now seriously considering the use of solar street lights. And hopefully we will come up with something very soon, because we have seen some offers from manufacturers and suppliers that we think the government can comfortably look at and then go in for them. The good thing, though, is that the new roads that we are doing across the country, not only the Greater Banjul area, but across the country, come with solar street lights. And I think it is a very good pilot, because we have seen already how they have changed the lives of a lot of people along those roads, where we have built these new roads. So we now want to accelerate this and then upscale it to the national level. But all the major roads that have been done, especially in the Greater Banjul area, the areas that have been mentioned from Katong to Gunjur, then to Birkama, and then from Burfoot going all the way to Tanje, Tujereng, all the way to Katong. These are areas that we have been earmarked. And also the new road that was built in 2018 from Sukuta Junction going all the way to Jambanjeli. Those are areas that we have already mapped, and we want to use them as priority areas to provide solar street lights. And this will be for some good reasons, that it will reduce the cost on local governments, and also NAWEC can now use the electricity that they put on the street lights to the grid, and then, supply the consumers. So really, this is something that we are very serious about, and we are looking at it very seriously at the ministry.
I need you now to address two things for me. The quality of the roads that have been built since Barrow came to power, and are being built, and phase 3 of...
the Battle Harding.
Well, is it Battle Harding or
OIC Road? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people are used to Battle Harding.
Okay. Okay. You must have heard Mahdi on the program yesterday.
Well, sometimes, Peter, it's of no use trying to really respond to all these comments, because many of these people who are talking about quality of roads don't even know what they are talking about. They cannot even tell you what quality means in terms of road construction. The roads are very, very good. You see, what some of these people have been doing, they wait until in the rainy season when roads that are not completed, they go there, take pictures of them, put it in social media. Why do you want to respond to those ones? Because those are deliberate mis and disinformation.
Mahdi is not doing that, is he?
What Mahdi is doing is just idle talk. To be honest, Peter, Mahdi has been doing a lot of idle engagements that I don't have time for. This is somebody, he wakes up and go to social media and write. We have issues to deal with.
Yeah, but he writes about issues.
He writes about issues, most of it that I have been seeing of late. The last time my conversation with you here, Mahdi being a journalist, he should know what you call elasticity of communication. When you are in communication with somebody and you start talking and the other person start putting his or her ideas across, do you want to be engaging in unnecessary banter and unnecessary push and pull? Sometimes you listen. Even if you don't agree, you allow the issue to pass. And he went to social media to say that Ebrimas is incompetent. Peter was schooling him about his job. These are idle things that you don't expect from responsible people.
I know nothing about road construction.
Yes, I mean, this is what I'm saying. It's about the ferry. What you are talking about, ferry, and why the school children could have been given, or everyone could have been given, a card.
The subsidy.
Yeah,
okay. So let's address quality.
So, I'm telling you that the roads are very good.
Okay.
Because we have, in fact, 4 different stages of quantifying quality of our roads. First, you have the contractor, you have the consultant, you have the NRA, and also you have evaluators who will come and look at the quality of these roads.
Evaluators from where?
Sometimes they can come from other countries. Like the last time when, we had, people from Ghana.
Who invites them? The government of the
Ghana?
No.
I mean, I think it was the National Audit Office.
Okay.
To look at the quality of the roads, especially the concrete works. So really, when you hear some of these people talk, the Gambia is a lowland country. And many people that have settled, especially in the urban areas, have settled on waterways. So therefore, when you do one road, water that is flowing from all other areas will come to this particular road, and then, water will run on, those roads with ferocity. And then you will see that you will have a lot of waterways. We are doing proper drainage structures. We have already completed a study on the Greater Banjul drainage system. And all these roads are connected to this Greater Banjul drainage system. But what we have done so far in terms of work is like 10 to 15% of overall roads in the Greater Banjul area. So you expect that when water, because for example, if you do your road in London Corner,
yes,
I
hope you do.
Yes,
I hope you are planning on doing.
If you concrete it or you tar it, what will happen is water coming from all adjacent areas will converge on that road, and then you will of course see a lot of water running on that road. But give it 15 to 20 minutes to 30 minutes or even 1 hour, the water will run away. The water will completely go away because it has proper drainage structures. Before, Burfoot was one area where people used to go and take pictures and say the roads are not good. Why are they not doing it now? Because the works are completed.
Oh, okay.
Joswang and other areas where they are doing the roads, they are not completed. The drainage structures have not yet been done. You expect that water will be on those roads. It is just disingenuous that some of these critics, rather than acknowledging what is happening, they will always look for convenient spots just to get some likes and some cheap popularity, Peter. We don't have time for that. I have a situation where more than 1,000 communities in this country need roads. All right? I have a situation that I'm dealing with where more than 10,000 or so people that are bringing in goods and services in this country have to go through the ports, and their needs have to be serviced. And their needs have to be resolved. So you expect me to be listening to all these petty things in social media? We have a job to do. And we have real life issues to deal with. To come to radio or to wake up in the morning and write something is the cheapest thing that anybody can do. You see, Peter, it's very difficult to deal with idle people. This is a serious issue. You, Peter, you have a job. Every morning you come here, you are thinking about what to tell the people to make sure that they have the right information, they have the credible information, they have the good information. And you have to think about how to run your radio station.
Yeah, Madi is doing the same. He's holding government to account.
One man, thing where you sit in your house and write. No, please, Peter.
It's a center. He's working with
Where
other
is
people.
The address of this center? I told you I came in peace this morning, Peter. I don't want problem.
Let
us deal with issues.
Okay.
Forget about Madi. He's a good friend. I call him Citizen Madi. I'm sure he must be trying to write something in social media, a big response.
I call him.
And you see, these are people who are so, concerned about what is even said about them. They are not thick-skinned. They can come here and say anything about anybody, but just say something little. I can bet my life that this afternoon you will see something Madi writing about what I say here. Because they cannot take criticism.
Well, you're Minister of Infrastructure.
No, I know.
And all of that.
You know me. I'm thick-skinned.
So
that's why I don't. I don't give a. Please, Peter.
Don't use the D word here.
People have real issues to deal with. We have a country to build. If you want to criticize, but criticize genuinely.
Okay.
You go to Brikama and you talk about a road. How many governments, came before this government? For how many years? Over 50 years, those roads have not been done. You expect those roads to be done in 8 years? What is the budget of the ministry? We have over 5,600 kilometers of roads to be done across this country. These people sometimes, what is the budgetary allocation of the ministry? A kilometer of road, how much is that? Do they know?
Well, there are people...
And these are the people who will say, government is wasteful. They are spending all this money. Why Ministry of Works has this amount of money? Yeah. Why not education? Why not agriculture? Roads are also as equally important as education and agriculture.
Tell us about phase 3 of OIC or Bertil Harding, whatever.
It has started already.
So what does it involve?
Well, it involves doing the side roads on either side of the 6-lane.
People said originally it should have been 8. 4, lanes on either side.
Well, this one coming, the service lanes will actually be 6 meters on each side. So that will actually
further expand
the road. No, so now what we are doing is the relocation of services, because that takes a lot of time. You have electricity and
water,
telecoms. Telecoms, cables, they have to be moved first, because you have to have a right of way to be able to start the work. So it is important that those ones are done. Okay. And also the drainage structures now, we'll work on those ones in the rainy season. All and in October, by the grace of God, we will see the real actual work starting.
All right. Sanks, I have a question for you as well. Hi, Uncle Peter. Kindly ask Mr. Sankare, why isn't the president addressing the newly revealed Parliament oil saga report, as damning as it is, about the widespread corruption in his government? So corrupt. So Parliament has just...
before that, I just have something to add on to what the Honorable Minister was talking about, the roads. You talk about, I think somebody texted up, it was supposed to be 8 lanes.
Yes.
One time we had a meeting when the contractors first came to cabinet. And then, yes, that is true. But the thing is, out of humanitarian consideration and out of business consciousness, there's so many people who have infringed the construction of their houses. However, if government were or was to just go on demolishing everything, it was going to cause a huge financial catastrophe for businesses, and these businesses are employing Gambians. It was going to terminate the livelihood of so many people. So government, out of humanitarian considerations, and also recognizing that in order for the government to also continue functioning, they also have to be mindful of these kind of things like unemployment and all that. Yes. Decided to go 6, 336.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. But then now that the side roads are being fixed, it is anticipated that it may not maybe compensate for 8 roads. However, it will go significantly in mitigating the burden on the 6 lanes.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about
the president, making an address following, the oil, they call it the petroleum saga.
Yeah. If you have been observing President Barrow for the past 7 or 8 years, you would come to see a person who exudes so much care, and a person who is very methodical, a person who is not spontaneous. You just see smoke over there and you say the whole the whole house is on fire. It may be that somebody is just trying to light fire to brew a tire. Yes, I'm not trying to devalue the work of the National Assembly. They have done their work. The document has been submitted, the report you're talking about. What kind of a president would just receive a document, an inquiry, and the next day you start firing everybody? A government doesn't work like
that. No, they're not.
This document even is not even something that we can call an inquiry document yet, because it is a report done by the National Assembly Select Committee, and then they have not presented this to the whole House, and the whole House has not made a decision on it. It's a leaked document. No responsible government will work on those things.
The Ministry of Information has put out a press release to that effect.
Exactly. The House committee has to present this to the whole House, and then a decision is taken. It is only when the decisions are taken and communicated to the government about the findings of the subcommittee and the position of the National Assembly, that decision can be taken.
Okay, that's
So
a fair point.
And yes, and again, I heard Mahdi talking about, this is somebody who was working with the National Assembly when he was working with Westminster Foundation, that he should have known these processes. I think sometimes, Peter, people jump to conclusions so soon that it bothers me because they don't care about facts and processes.
You've clarified the point. We're running out of time. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Let Minister Silla know that the dock workers are not happy with him because our leaders, the Dock and Maritime Workers Union, said he is part of those helping the Al-Bayrak people by reducing our wages, and they, the executive union, were driven away from his office by Silla himself, which is very sad. All the work at the port is risky, especially we, the dock workers, working on vessels. We climb on spreaders going up to 5 or 6 container highs, discharging and loading. We are never paid risk allowances since I entered the port in 2009, and we have asked some of these Al-Bayrak people, but they are saying that they have never reduced our wages. But our executive union said it's Silla and central government who agree for our wages to be reduced. Please let him tell us if he knows something about this. If yes, why?
It's good you asked me this question because I had an audio where a certain Mr. Sise was making such outrageous comments. In the first place, it is not the minister's responsibility to discuss the wages of dock workers. The dock workers labor union is a trade union whose leadership work with the Gambia Ports Authority, being a member, no, not a member, but at least they are a shareholder in the dock workers union, and then they sit and discuss their own wages. How those payments are done, that is not the responsibility of the minister. The minister was only concerned when the report reached me that the dock workers wanted to do a strike because of certain concerns. I called the union leaders to my office and the managing director of the Gambia Ports Authority and the Al-Bayrak to come and explain what this rumor was all about. To my surprise, instead of the leadership of the dock workers union take responsibility, they came with a whole crowd to come to me. I said, what is this for? I called for you people to take to take your responsibility and then explain to me what was going on. Why would you need all this crowd in this office? So I told them I was only going to see the leadership of the dock workers union as representative of your membership, and also the Gambia Ports Authority as the regulator, and the Al-Bayrak as the operator of the port. And they explained to me that they negotiated a payment deal, and they even had an SLA, a service level agreement, that has already been signed by the leadership of the dock workers union and the Gambia Ports Authority and Al-Bayrak. And the contentious issue here was Al-Bayrak charges, I think, 3-point-something euro for the containers, and then the dock workers union was demanding 4-point-something euro.
Oh,
who in your right mind will have a business? You are charging the ship and vessel owners this much, and then you are paying more than what you are getting from that one. Nobody accepts that, and all these things are written.
Could they be suggesting that
No.
Al-Bayrak is under-reporting to you?
No.
They're getting more than 3.5.
You cannot under-report it, because these things are already negotiated, and the Gambia Ports Authority takes the lead in that. Everything is clearly written, and they are tabulated in terms of wages, in terms of funds that are collected, fees that are collected, and what is paid to the dock workers. And the profit, is so transparent.
Okay.
You see everything.
Okay.
So when that thing came to our office, we insisted that that is not a normal business practice, and that they should go and negotiate. They went and did their own negotiations. They agreed. They even had an SLA, service level agreement, that they have already signed.
Okay.
So how could it be now the minister that is, reducing their payment? But that is ridiculous.
But the issue here is, they're claiming that their wages were reduced. Then
let them go and deal with their union. That is not the minister's responsibility.
Or it's the union to sit with who? Al Bayrak, the new port operators?
They have been sitting. And the union agreed. They signed an agreement already. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
If there should be anything, they should go to their union and explain why that happened.
Well, you heard audio. I have seen videos.
Yes.
And the way these people are working looks very, very dangerous.
Yes, but that is what is changing now. Because the PPPs, the personal protection facilities that were supposed to be provided to them, probably they were not there. But now it's a condition as part of the concession that all those things should be taken care of.
Those conditions haven't kicked in yet because they're still going up there without harnesses or without anything. And, as you said, sometimes, 5 container high, they are up there dangling in the air, anything can happen.
But Stevie Doran and, dock workers' environment is always like that. You have to go up, you have to arrange the containers, you have to bring if it is bulk cargo, you have to bring down the goods, and also the commodities that are in the vessel. So and that is why many of those people are paid more than the average Gambians in offices. I can tell you that if they work on jar oil vessels, say for 3-4 days maximum that they go home with is $20-something thousand. In a month, some of them can go home with $60,000. I'm telling you this because I have seen their wages. I have seen how much they are getting. And in fact,
you should stop being minister then and then go on.
No, I'm just telling you that if there is any reduction in whatever they are earning, that has never, been brought to my attention. All I know was that there was a dispute between them and their union leaders and Al Barak, and we heard about this, through information given to us, by our partners in other sectors, and then I called them because we don't want chaos at the port, and we will not allow that. So I called them to know exactly what was the problem. When everything was explained, I told the MD and the head of the union that please go and negotiate this with your people. And then they went and negotiated with Al Barak, and then they have a service level agreement which has been signed by all the parties. So how this could be a minister's ploy to reduce their earning is something that is really surprising to me.
Okay.
But this is Gambia. People can wake up in the morning, take their telephones and record something and it becomes viral. The rest of the people, most of them don't care about the truth. They just believe that because it is said in a forum. But for me, I can tell you, I have nothing to do with docks workers, salaries or wages, and I don't even know.
From what you explained, that is very clear. Say something about the ferry situation, because apparently we are still getting complaints that sometimes there's only one ferry available.
Yeah, because the Gambia Ferry Services is respecting the maintenance program, of these ferries. They are under a strict instruction that when the ferries run for 5 hours, they should stop one and let it go through a proper maintenance, change the oil or whatever they're supposed to do, and that takes about an hour. And then they resume. So that could have been the reason for this. I know that some 2 weeks ago, one of the ferries, I think, one engine they were not sure about because it was giving them some issues. It stopped for about 6 hours and they changed the engine because we have about 3 extra engines that are here in case there are emergencies for them to change. So they did that. That was the only report that I got that the ferry stopped for at least 6 hours. That was the only one. Although on Monday, I saw a deliberate disinformation, on Facebook, where somebody brought in an old video where the 2 ferries were tied to each other and put my picture there and the president. that look at how we are risking the lives of people, that we are doing this to do some human sacrifice. All rubbish.
Human sacrifice?
Yes, that, we are doing this so that people can die. You see, that's the...
If you sacrifice people, please don't sacrifice me, for heaven's sake.
I'll come to West Coast Radio, But these are the deliberate disinformation campaign being designed and consumed and accepted by a certain section of the society that thinks and still believe that this government should fail because of their, disinformation strategy. But we have quite a lot of intelligent people in this country. People that are conscious of what is going on in this country. People that know what is going on in this country. And people that are really sure that this government means well, despite our imperfections and all the challenges that we face. And we accept those imperfections and those challenges. But to think that you can go to social media and then, write all kinds of, misleading stories that you think that can make people cow to your disingenuous, attempts, that is a fantasy that, they have to get themselves out of. Because we are not going anywhere, and then we will deliver as expected. Yes, we are humans. If we commit, errors, we will come out and say, yes, this is human error, and we are ready to move on, we are ready to learn. But to think that, you can get up every morning, write, pamphlets about, issues that you don't even know about, or try to, come up with stories just to misinform people, that, in fact, is discrediting them more. Because anytime they do that, as a journalist, I arrange my team. As a communication strategist, I arrange my team, and then we bring the facts so that people will know.
I thought you said you came in peace. And
in peace.
You end up fighting everybody.
No,
some final words, because already I can hear by Mukhtar Toure outside, the Imam who is to take over from us next. Actually, I tried to find out whether he was going to be available, and he said he was going, but otherwise he would have been here for 2 hours. Just very quickly, yes, how would you like to bring this conversation to an end? Maybe, with respect to what is happening or about to happen tomorrow.
Where, in Sanyang? Or where?
Well, I hope in Sanyang. Oh, I hope in Sanyang.
Oh, okay. The question, okay. You know what he's talking about. Peter, there's no cabinet reshuffle. Nobody has been sacked. Nobody has been dismissed. Nobody has been phased out. I think that's the new metaphor they use now at State House. So nobody has been phased out. and there's no phasing out.
Well, since you talk about cabinet reshuffles, is one imminent?
Imminent? I don't know.
Yeah? Okay, all right. He wants to be economical with...
No. Honestly, I'm not aware.
Thanks for coming. Sila, thank you very much for your time. And
thank you.
Good luck with the ceremony tomorrow.
And we wish to see you there.
Not at this meeting. I mean, if I am going to be part of those who are going to the beach with the president...
You will ride with me to the beach.
For the meeting where you talk about NPP and all of that, no, thank you.
Why?
The meeting is as a consequence of the ceremony.
Yeah.
So the ceremony and the meeting cannot be.
See how they are convincing Big Brother to join them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Come in.
The invitation card given to you is written in gold and it's so precious.
I saw it.
You saw that?
Yeah.
So honestly, and to decline, Peter.
It's a shame.
No, it's not really a shame. It would.
I want to say it's a shame I don't have the card here to display it.
It would tantamount to serious sabotage.
Gentlemen, thank you so very much for coming. And of course, Sankara, make sure you stay around to tell me what the president said about the three of us. You've already told Sila. All right, thank you so very much for listening to the program this week. We'll be back on Monday. And I'll be starting the week with a former colleague of Ebrimas Sila's. Remember Usman Ba? He's going to be on the program on Monday. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching this week. Have a great weekend.
Jar Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Suway.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jel mo to nga andil mahalis. Hello?
Bësal mu fine.
What?
Bësal mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave at Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Bësal mu fine. Wave, your money is yours.